What's up, family? What's up, what's up, what's up? As promised, Michael Rapaport is in the building. Family, y'all don't understand. It's about to go down. If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you're representing. We need to know these type of things so we can know who we're talking to. We're one big family. You dig what I'm saying? I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Now, just because you're smashing up the like does not necessarily mean you agree with everything that's being said. Is what you're doing is that you're showing your appreciation for me taking the time out of my busy schedule to bring you this content and information. Dig what I'm saying? Also, family, if you want to skip the line, you can jump into the super chat. I'm going to go in on this interview with Mike, and then we're going to check out some of the questions and what you guys are talking about, all right? If you have not done so already, after you subscribe, make sure you click that little bell next to your subscribe button so that you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. Make sure you select all notifications, otherwise you may not get any. So let's do it, Mike. How you feel, man?
Feeling good, man. I'm feeling good, Willie. You know, I'm just trying to maintain my health and my sanity and just trying to survive in advance, man. Survive in advance is what it is this time.
Well, some tells me that Mike is always going to survive. You seem like one of those dudes that know how to make adjustments.
Got to, man. Fucking got to. But, you know, it's been challenging. You know, it's certainly been it's been some shit that, I mean, never would have thought in February that we'd be in lockdown 6 weeks now in you know, April heading into May.
Right.
And I'm just trying to just get through it like everybody else, man. Everybody's been affected in one way or another, whether it's jobs, work, you know, friends, family who've had it, who've passed away, who are still, you know, getting their health back together. So this shit is non-discriminatory. Right. You know, and you can't compare people's tragedies and their losses. You know, it is exactly what it is, and everybody's being touched one way or another. I just, you know, hoping and praying that everybody gets out of here with their health and their sanity.
Right. Absolutely, man. Do you know anybody that's been affected by the coronavirus?
Yeah, I know I have a friend who passed away from it. Like about a little bit over a week ago. I have another friend who has it right now, who seems to be doing well. You know, Brad, your good friend, Mr. Scarface, you know, he's been very open, and I think it's important. You know, I don't think people should feel embarrassed or feel like there's a stigma on this, because I think the more people show the diversity of the way this shit has been attacking anybody, it's important. You know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. This isn't like you did anything wrong. This shit is just coming after everybody and anybody with it doesn't care who you are, you know, and what you do and what you've done, and, you know, what kind of person you are. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I've been, you know, dealing with, you know, loss and fear. You know, my father's 86 years old. He lives right in Manhattan, right in the city. And he's by himself. He's been doing well. He's been pounded through, you know, and I think, well, I want to go and be with him. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? You know what I mean? So, but he's been doing good, but I'm just trying to maintain, man, survive in advance.
Yeah. Now, your father is 86 years old?
Yeah, 86.
Man, that's a good run right there, man. Is he still able to, you know, he's still able to do things like drive and all that stuff?
Boy, he doesn't drive because he's in New York City. So, you know, he you know, most people in Manhattan, if you're from Manhattan, it's not a driving city, it's a walking city, buses, cabs, and trains. So obviously in the last few weeks, no one's been doing any of the buses, cabs, and train shit, but he's been moving around. He's independent, knock on wood. So he's been doing good. I'm proud of him. I'm very proud of him. He's doing good so far.
See, that's the type of 86 I'm talking about, man. I'm talking about, like, when I hit that 86, man, I'm talking about still being independent and doing my own thing. I just do not want to be one of those dudes that has to rely on someone else for my day-to-day activities and access that I need to live a quality life.
I know. So he's fucking it up right now. He's doing good.
Yeah. Man, so who raised you? You just spoke about your dad. Who raised you?
My mother and my father, but like they were divorced in the 70s, and and I was with both of them. But a lot of time with my father, but both, half and half.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to know that because you are a very polarizing figure, to say the least. You have a very interesting personality, and you are one of the most opinionated. You're one of the most opinionated people on the planet, and Mike don't hold back. Everybody know Michael Rapaport will not hold back. Now, I said, did I pronounce your name Rapaport last time? Did I say Rapaport? Did I say?
You said it right.
Okay. All right. Got to make sure. Okay, so
Rap
anyway.
a lot and Rapaport. Boom.
Huh?
I said Rap a Lot Records and Rapaport.
Right. I got you. What I wanted to know is, growing up, like your mom and dad raised you, but growing up, did they raise you to be outspoken, or was you encouraged to kind of like, hey, Mike, pump your brakes? You're being too loud. You're being too outspoken.
To be honest, I came out disruptive. I came out disruptive, and my parents did the best they can to, I was always pretty good in the house. My father, I was always pretty good in the house, but school, I was never really good in school, and I wasn't a bad student. I wasn't like a tough guy, but I was just always said disruptive.
Right.
I get kicked out of school for being disruptive. Got kicked out of public school in New York for being disruptive, and I just was a shit talker. And growing up in Manhattan, in New York City in the 70s and the 80s, I grew up loving basketball, and then hip hop. I fell in love with hip hop in 1979 when Rapper's Delight came out, just like everybody else. But my father worked at a radio station in New York called WKTU Disco 92, and he brought me home a promotional copy of Rapper's Delight in 79, and he said, this is called rap music, this is gonna be a big deal. And me and my brother just fell in love with that shit. And that, with being in the streets playing ball, and then basketball taking me to other neighborhoods, that's where all like the hip hop street shit, and hanging out, Black people, Puerto Rican people. I mean, Manhattan is a melting pot. It really is, especially back then. It's very exclusive now. Manhattan now is very sort of like you gotta, it's, in order to come there, you got to have a lot of money. But like there's old school people in Manhattan that grew up there, and that's my father's one of those people. But basketball took me to the hood, took me to Brooklyn, took me to Harlem when I was young. And at that age, 11, 12 years old, you're just chilling. You know what I mean? Like you're just playing ball and hanging out, and one thing leads to another thing leads to another thing. That's just what it is, and how I grew up. That's just what I was around, and and I've been, that's just who I am. So like all that hip hop shit and love of hip hop and having opinions on it, like and that's just how I am. But as far as they try to keep reins on me, and I don't think I was ever bad in the house, but it was just I've just been I've always been a shit talker. I call it talking shit. You know what I mean? And the thing with talking shit is that sometimes you're going to spit on people inadvertently. Like me and you are having a conversation, obviously now without the COVID-19, but if we're talking and, even getting along, and I'm like, yo, Jordan is better than LeBron and blah, 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 blah. You might be like, yo, you spit on me. Oh, pardon me. When you talk shit, sometimes, you step on toes. Sometimes, you inadvertently spit on people. But 99.9% of the shit that I talk about, except for the Trump shit, is all fun and games, whether it's sports. The hip hop shit, my opinion is valid as fuck. I know, I've been around hip hop from day one, and I know what I know. I love what I love. And if I say this person's whack, that's my opinion. That doesn't, negate whether they're successful or not. I don't want anybody not to be successful or not successful. Whack MCs, and you might not say it, but out of respect, because you're an OG. From hip hop. But for me, I'm just a fan. You know, with sports, I'm just a fan. I'm not a disgruntled rapper. I'm not a former ball player. I'm just a fan with an opinion. So I talk my shit, and you know, most of the time people don't have a problem with it, but sometimes people get, you know, you shouldn't say that. You don't have a right to say that. What the fuck are you talking about? If I say the Ghetto Boys are dope, you don't have a problem with that. But if I say this group or this rapper's shit, you have a problem with that? Like, I'm supposed to say everything's dope? Everything is not dope. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Yeah. The thing about hip hop is, man, like sports, a lot of it is subjective, you know. It's
completely.
Like, what do you feel? You know, what's your personal taste? And that's all that matters. When you start talking about your top 5, your top 10, whatever it is, it's all subjective. What I want to know, did you ever try to rap yourself?
You know, not professionally. You know, when we were kids, you know, everybody tried to beatbox and tried to, you know, rhyme around your friends. And, you know, when you're going to school or coming back from school in the hallway, you might, but I just, it was never anything that I could do. Like I could never get out of that fourth line. Like, so I could go bop, 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 and then I'm done.
Yeah.
I never got past the second bar. But I never tried to do it like, you know, really try to do it. But, you know, I used to beatbox with my friends that could rhyme a little bit and all that shit, but not like seriously. It wasn't my thing. I just never had that skill.
Right, right. Did you ever play any sports?
Basketball was my shit. I mean, I grew up playing all the sports, but basketball.
In school?
Yeah, basketball was my shit. Playing ball was my thing. Growing up in New York, playing ball and playing around, you know, dudes that were, you know, really, really good. Dudes like Kenny Anderson, who played for, he played at Georgia Tech and played in the NBA. Yeah. And I've known Kenny since I'm 12. And the late, great Malik Sealy. I used to play against those guys, play with those guys. Obviously, at a certain point, the you know, shit got separated. Went to 5-star basketball camp, was there with Sean Kemp, you know, Christian Laettner, Billy Owens. Say again?
High school sports?
Yeah. I played high school basketball.
Okay.
But, you know, the bar, when you get to about 15, 16, like, the pack starts separating.
Separate the man from the boys.
Yeah, or, you know, separate, you know, so my hoop dreams, they died quick.
Yeah. Your stepfather, I heard, was a co-owner of the Improv, or co-founder of the Improv. Is that true?
Not my stepfather, but like someone who's close to me. Is still you know, one of the people who, you know, started the Improv, the comedy club.
Right. Is that where you got the inspiration to be a comic? Well, I know you're not really a comedian, but you are funny as hell, man, and you do play some good comedic roles.
You know, Eddie Murphy, loving Eddie Murphy, you know, like in the 80s when he came out on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
That was like someone who like really, like, I loved fucking Eddie Murphy like everybody else did. And then when I would go visit in Los Angeles when I was like 13, 14, 15, and I would see the comedians on stage, you know, like I enjoyed it, but at the time I literally thought I was going to be an NBA player. Like that's what I wanted to be.
Right.
When I was like 17, 18, you know, I realized I wasn't going to do that. And then, you know, when I was 19, I left New York and decided I wanted to become the next Eddie Murphy, which obviously I failed miserably at, but that's what got me into comedy and then got me into acting.
Yeah. And what was your breakout role? Your breakout role was High Learning, right?
I had done a movie before that called Zebrahead that was kind of got me started, and Higher Learning and True Romance were kind of the ones that, you know, like were, I guess, breakout roles. Yeah, Higher Learning was dope, and that was fun doing that movie.
Yeah, because you starred in over 60 films. Like,
yep.
You starred in over 60 films. What is it that you like doing most? A comedy, dramatic? You know, you like drama, comedy, action?
You know, whatever it is.
It seems really, like you do all of them.
I like all of them. I'm comfortable with all of them. You know, drama and comedy to me, it's different in terms of the energy that you have to put out, but they're both challenging. They're both something I'm comfortable with. And I've always tried to, you know, be as diverse as I possibly can as an actor. And, you know, I've done a good amount with both, and I want to continue doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you've worked a lot with Ice Cube. I see that y'all, is y'all relationship more than just business? Is it y'all got a friendship also?
Yeah, I mean, we're friends. You know, I met Cube when I had to audition for Higher Learning with the late great John Singleton. And you know, he said, come in and read with Cube. And like at the time, this was not like, are we there yet, Cube? This is like, you know, Ice Cube. And I was like, oh shit. Like, you know, he still had the, you know, the chipped tooth and shit and the afro, you know, like I was like, huh? Yeah, you know, I was just like, yo, I was bugging because I was such a fan of his. And you know, he had just done Boys in the Hood, but before that it was NWA, and then all his music. I was bugging, like I was tripping out, like in the same room with him. And John, you know, was like, do your shit, you know. So he really wanted to see if I would play that character, the character of Remy. He wanted to see if I was really down to do it and like comfortable doing that shit. So like Ice Cube sort of read all the other parts, and I was doing all the racist shit. And I was like having an out-of-body experience, because I remember I was like, I'm fucking in here with I was bugging that I was in there with Ice Cube, because I was just such a fan of his, and he's so iconic. And at the time, it was like 94. It might even been 93 when we started auditioning. We shot it in 94, but I was bugging the fuck out that I was in there with Ice Cube, that I was in there with John Singleton, and you know, doing that kind of character, you know, and I was saying wild shit to him, you know, and it was just it was a trip. But like, it's like, you know, a lot of people ask me about that character. Like, to me, it's a character. Like, I never thought about it as, oh, well, you're Remy, or, oh, well, people think. I was like, yo, this is clearly a character, like, you know, and I want to play the character the best I can. You know, I want to represent this part. I want to do the best job I possibly can. And you know, my biggest advocate was John Singleton and Cube and Omar, everybody on that set. Like, there was no, you know, weird shit on the set. You know, I mean, people were kind of sticking to themselves, and people were chilling with who they knew. And, you know, it was a little bit like the skinheads were hanging with the skinheads, but I wanted to hang with Busta Rhymes and Ice Cube and shit, but they were kind of like, you know, off doing their thing. And Regina King, they were off doing their shit. And, you know, but you know, like, it wasn't, we're all actors, it's performers, you know what I mean? So like, but people still talk about that movie and that character, and I'm glad, because I think I left a little bit of myself in the character.
So I guess that just answered my next question. I was about to ask you, do you ever regret doing the film? Because I'm sure people to this day, I've read comments where people to this day still poke fun of you or poke at you about that role being a racist, and trying to say that that's who you are today, that you was being yourself. Does that ever bother you?
Hell no. You know, in any hood that I go to, any hood in this country that I've ever been to, if motherfuckers don't know my name, and they usually know my name, but if they don't know my name, they'll be like, Remy, what up? What up, Remy? You know, it's a movie character, just like,
right.
You know, Tupac was Bishop and Juice or whatever. Like, it's a character, you know, and I'm so glad that I got to do that movie, and I'm so glad that I was able to bring that character to life. I don't like the character, but I wanted to play the character as genuine as I possibly could, and that's why people know the character by name, because I think I did a good job. So I don't give a fuck, you know, all this, you know, this tweets and Instagram and, oh, he'll always be Remy, I'm not fucking with him. Well, you're fucking bugging, man. You know, get the fuck out of here, man. You know, it's like, you know, that's just stupid. You know what I mean? That's stupid to me.
Yeah, you lobbied for that role, right? Because Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to originally play that role.
He was going to do it, and then he dropped out, and then I started getting on John and calling him. And
who that dropped out? It was Pac that dropped out first, right?
Pac dropped out. Well, he didn't drop out. They couldn't finance the film, because this is when he had started getting into trouble.
Right.
And you know, then Leonardo dropped out, or vice versa, and then, you know, we started shifting things around a little bit.
Yeah, and you, boy, I tell you what, getting that role really lends credibility to the saying that a closed mouth can't get fed. Because had you not spoke up for that role, you would have just had that little smaller role. And, you know, it was a powerful role, bro. Like,
thank you. I'm glad I did it. I appreciate that. And you know, with the passing of John Singleton, he couldn't have been more. He was my biggest fan on the set. You know, that scene where I pull the gun out on Omar Epps and I'm and this and that, you fucking this, you fucking that. After we did that shit, the first take, John was like, hell yeah, keep going. Like he wanted me to feel comfortable. He wanted me to feel, you know, because also it was like a predominantly black set because John was a big advocate of that, you know, all the way back then, like trying to get, you know, grips and, you know, ADs and sound people, you know, and not just have it all white sets. And so, you know, he wanted me to do my thing and he wanted a place where I could feel comfortable. And, you know, that guy was always so supportive of doing that movie and, you know, and remained a friend, you know, for years. We remained friends and in touch. And his, you know, he gave a lot of people breaks, you know, John Singleton, from Cuba Gooding to revising Lawrence Fishburne's career, who was, you know, kind of nowhere up until Boys in the Hood. And then, of course, Cube and Morris Chestnut and Regina King and, you know, just so many people. Taraji, you know, he put her in her first real part. And, you know, and you know, Tyrese, you know, he put him in his first part. John really touched a lot of people and influenced and impacted and really gave people their jump off for their career. So I always, you know, salute him and you know, was always appreciative of that. And you know, we remained friends until he passed.
Yeah, he was always trying to make a statement. You know, his work, his body of work had substance. It wasn't just entertainment. Oftentimes, you know, being in the entertainment business, you know, you got to always remember that it is entertainment. So you have to bring that entertainment value. Otherwise, nobody get the message. But John always had a message. And I was lucky enough to be at his 50th in LA when he was celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. And I do also remember when he first did Boys in the Hood. I was at a party at his house, and that was quite interesting. You know how Hollywood parties go. You know, especially when something big is going on. You know,
that's dope.
You got a smash hit movie like Boys in the Hood. You can just imagine how wild the party was.
Yep.
The roles that you played many different roles. But what role in what film do you think that you was in that you're actually proud of, that you made a difference in the lives of people? A role that you played, you say, man, that is going to change some lives, or that's going to improve some people's lives, that role, that character.
You know, it's hard for me to say, but I mean, the character in Higher Learning, in a weird way, because again, although the character is not, you know, I didn't like the character, you know, it was a necessary character in telling that story. And obviously now, you know, there's so much shit right at the moment, you know, coronavirus is what we're all thinking about, but you know, you know, race is still a big issue. It's never going to be figured out. To me, it's a never-ending jigsaw puzzle. So I would have to say that movie and representing that character, you know, it sounds crazy, but representing that character to the fullest is something, you know, that I'm proud of. You know, and as far as, you know, other characters, you know, there's always little shit in other stuff, you know, but it's really up for people to decide what affects them or inspires them or what impact. You know, I just try to just do my shit. And, you know, there's certain things that I like that, you know, never really did anything. And, you know how it is. It's like you do it and you think it's going to be one thing and, you know, you never really know the outcome of it.
Yeah. What role, what part of that character, what piece of that character can you dissect and say, this piece right here is the piece of this character that actually can enrich somebody's life if they take a look at this character? Like how, because the character is a character that's a racist, and he's just a racist alone, in my opinion. You know, I'm like, death to all racists. That's how I think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but what is redeemable about that character that makes?
I don't know if there's anything redeemable necessarily about the character. There's nothing redeemable. Obviously, There's nothing redeemable about the character. But for me, being honest about it and being honest, like when you see these kids that shoot down their schoolmates and all that stuff, you know, it's like if you play, you know, it's like if you play a bad guy in a movie, it doesn't mean you're a bad guy. You know, you want to make the character as human as possible, whether you like it or not. Whether it's fucking Denzel in Training Day, that's not a fucking guy you want to hang out with.
That's the first thing that I thought about.
You know, it's
the first movie I thought about was.
And not to say that I'm Denzel or that it's the same thing, but it's like people love that character because he's so bad. Not to say like, you know, this is a piece of shit, that the higher learning character. You know, but you know, as an actor, you approach it like you want to just make the character as human as possible. And for me, you know, I wanted to make the character as real as possible, and I wanted to make his vulnerability as real as possible. Because whether you're Jeffrey Dahmer or Hitler, there's people that before Hitler started doing his shit, they would be like, this is a nice guy. There's people that up until he got caught, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer.
They're still saying he's a nice guy.
That's what I'm saying. And you know, but there's people like Jeffrey Dahmer, you know, his neighbors were like, I never would have thought he was such a nice, quiet guy. He was well-mannered. So I wanted to play it human. I'm not playing the bad guy like, I'm the bad guy, I'm the racist. Like, as an actor, you don't approach it that way. It's just like as an MC, if you're doing a verse, even as some of the shit you guys did in Ghetto Boys, like you're portraying a heightened reality. You're portraying this Willie D, the rapper, which is different than Willie the person, or Brad, the human being, or you know, or it's like there's versions of that are you understand and that you represent, but you're not doing the same. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I treat acting, and that's how I treated specifically that character. It's like I just wanted to be as real as possible, and you know, and that's still my goal. That's always been my goal, is to be as real as possible. I don't consider myself the most technical actor, and technical meaning like go to Denzel. That's a motherfucker who is incredible technically, accents, just. You know, he's able to really morph into the characters. Whereas, you know, some other actors, it's like they're just so honest and they're so genuine. You know, Denzel's like the mix of both. He's got the looks, he's got the swag, and he's got. If Denzel like lost his looks, he would still be a great character actor because he has the skill set.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm talking some acting shit. Whatever.
No, it's real. It's real shit. I mean, I can relate. There's a correlation there, you know, with other aspects of life. The characters that we're talking about, that the various characters that you play in these movies, have you ever taken any of those characters home? Like you couldn't turn it off?
You know, I think it's not so much that you can't turn it off, like the energy. If you're playing a very sad character, or the day of, like if you're doing a sad, that could be a scene that would be very sad or draining. Sometimes it's hard to come out of it, but I'm not one of these actors who like call me by the character's name, or especially I've gotten older and, you know, better, you know, you're able to sort of switch it on and off. But, you know, I think most actors in general, outside of like the people that like stay in characters all day, which I've never seen anybody do that, but there's some actors that apparently do that. You know, I think it's really like the energy. So if you're playing an upbeat character, you know, that might keep you upbeat. But if you're playing like someone who's angry, you know, not to say that when they say cut, you'll be angry, but you kind of stay in that zone of it. You know, I'm a grown up, you know, I'm a fucking human and I'm a professional. So I'm not going to be like, you motherfucker over, you know, you just kind of like, you stay in the vibe of it. The vibe is more of it.
Right.
So, but I'm able to turn it off when I go home, especially, you know, you can't bring any of that shit home with my wife.
Right. What about this internet stuff, man? This Instagram and just the whole social media stuff. Like right now, you found a new lane. And you know what? Before I go there, I want to ask you one last question about the acting. Well, maybe this may be the last question. I don't know. But I wanted to mention this question before I forget. Do you still have to audition?
I haven't recently, but yeah, I would have to for certain things. For certain things, I would have to. And at this
you resent that?
Do I what?
Do you resent it?
Yeah, I resent it, but I only resent it if it's something that I've done. So if it's a New York cop, a shit talking New York cop, and blah 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 blah, and I've done it fucking 10 times in 10 variations. It could be a funny cop, it could be a dumb cop, it could be a racist cop, it could be a stupid cop. You want me to do that? That I would resent that. But if it's like, you know, a mild-mannered, you know, soft-spoken guy, and you know, who's 50 years old, that I don't resent, because I can understand where they go, okay, well, we haven't seen him do that. We want to see you do that. So I won't resent that. But if it's like playing Joe Schmo fucking thing that I've done, or, you know, that's close to me, or some shit talking sports dude, like, come on, you want me to fucking just go on my Instagram? But for certain things, I wouldn't resent it. But that's a good question. It depends on what it is. For the most part, I don't. But, you know, if it's worth it, I'll do it with open arms. And you know, I have no problem doing it. It's part of the, yeah, listen, they could say, well, they want you to audition. I could, well, fuck you, I'm Michael Rapaport. They could say, all right, no problem. We got 10 other motherfuckers that are popping too, that they're ready to audition. So see you later. So it's a matter of what, you know, nothing comes easy. No matter where you're at, nothing comes easy.
Right. So now I'm going into this social media thing again.
Okay.
Man, you can create a whole new lane for yourself in the social media, and people actually look forward to your rants. I've never known anybody to really just look forward to somebody's rants. And you said that 99% of this stuff that you say on social media is for shits and giggles, basically. You know, it's entertainment. But that small percentage that gets under your skin, and that part that you are adamant about is Donald Trump. What is it about Trump that you hate so much?
I mean, there's so many things, but you know, to start off, you know, I don't like you know, his base, especially at this point. Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, you didn't like Hillary. This 4 years ago, three and a half years ago. Let's say you didn't like Hillary. You were sick of the Democrats and all that shit. Let's just say you were like, fuck it, I'm going to vote for this guy. It's going to be something different.
Okay.
The fact that now, 3.5 years later, and we're in a virus, and this guy could come up here and, you know, he's the only, like, brag about his ratings. Brag about, you know, like, he's the only one who is ego-driven during this coronavirus. The only person who's like, you know, I'm the king of ventilators. I did this, I did that, you know, and you know, who shuns tough questions, who is forget his policies. You know, the fact that, I don't give a fuck about John McCain. The fact that he made fun of John McCain, I like my war heroes not to be captured. Made fun of, talk shit about John McCain after he died. His boy, Ted Cruz, talked shit to Ted Cruz, talked about his wife. This is, forget all the policies, Republican, Democrat. How is that acceptable as a president? I don't give a fuck, you know, what the president is. You know, forget Republican, super duper to the 10th pound Republican. This is just not appropriate. And it's the belittling, it's the lying, it's the double talking, and the fact that he thinks that people, you know, he's got all these flunkies around him, yes men around him, and the fact that he thinks that people aren't on to him, especially me as a New Yorker. We know this motherfucker. We've seen this nasty motherfucker in the 80s and the 90s at parties, you know, out at restaurants. Like, we know you, motherfucker. Like, he's a 2-bit, double talking, pimping con man. And you know, he keeps, you know, clowns around him that are, you know, will just, you know, bow down to everything he says. And it's just the blatant disrespect for his base. That's the thing, like, his base, these people that love him, they don't understand. He wouldn't piss on you. He literally wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. He don't give a fuck about these people. It's literally like my cousin Vinny gone wrong. And he's a piece of shit, man. He's a fucking piece of shit. And I've never, if you look at my social media, I never once paid 5 seconds of attention to Obama straight up. I voted for Obama, but I wasn't you know, praising Obama or criticizing Obama. Bush, nothing. But to see this guy lie and you know, talk shit about governors and, you know, like what he said yesterday about, I don't want Atlanta, I don't want Georgia to open. I'm going to say it. I don't want Georgia to open, but they're doing it and I support them. Like, no, motherfucker, if you don't think they should open and you know that it's a risk, shut it down. But he's just saying that just in case, you know, shit backfires. And the fact that he thinks that people get it, and a lot of people go for it.
Right.
How are you going to social distance in a tattoo parlor and then say, I don't think it's a good idea, but I'm letting them make the decisions? If you don't think it's a good idea, and this isn't about money, this is about saving lives. So if you don't think it's a good idea and the people around you don't think it's a good idea, shut it down, whether you like the governor or not. Shut it the fuck down. And I feel bad for the people of Georgia. And as much as I hate Trump, I hope he's right. I hope with this case, I hope he's right. I hope everybody makes at it. But you know, they might as well, they're opening it up tomorrow. They might as well open it up today. Like 2 days ain't gonna change this shit. Like you could open it up right now. It's gonna be what it's gonna be, and knock on wood, it's okay, and knock on wood, it's safe. But you know, I'm nervous about those people. But as far as Trump, I just don't like the lying and I don't like that he belittling. To me, it's insulting to me that you think that I don't know that you're full of shit. It's one thing if you acknowledge that I know you're full of shit, but if you think that I don't think and know you're full of shit, you think that I'm stupid. And nobody likes being made to feel stupid. So that's one of the many reasons, and all the things that he said and the, you know, all the other stuff that I don't like. But that's the thing that really gets me really genuine when you see me on social media. Like, that's the real shit. If I say, oh, LeBron's not good as Mike, and that's all basketball shit talk. I could sit here and talk to you about, you know, Ali's better than this one, or fucking, you know, Babe Ruth was better. That's, you know, or Ice Cube is a better MC than this one, and Tupac's better than that. That shit's barbershop shit talk. This motherfucker I really don't like.
Right. So can you now tell us how you really feel about Trump? Man, hey man, I echo all those sentiments, man. I feel the exact same way as you do about this dude. You get into a lot of battles, verbal battles with a lot of people. Your list is long, bro. I'm talking about you be getting into it with all kinds of folks. Have you ever gotten into it with somebody and said or did something where you thought maybe I went too far?
I don't know about too far. I think you know, aside from Trump, I'll be totally honest with you, Willie, I don't like to insult people. You know, aside from Trump, like, I don't want to insult personally. And I think a lot of times when I'm talking shit, you know, because I think I'm good at it.
Right.
You know, I don't really realize what I'm doing it, how it's going to sort of be, how it's going to be received. I don't like doing that. If I'm doing that, I'm doing it blatantly. I don't like doing it by accident. Like, for instance, a couple of my social media like things were a few Super Bowls ago. I don't remember which one it was. It was like 2 or 3 Super Bowls ago. This is one of my first social media sort of blow-ups. Justin Timberlake was performing. Yeah, he was performing during the Super Bowl. And they were calling it Janet Jackson Appreciation Day. And I said, and they were like, why is Justin Timberlake performing? And, you know, why hasn't Janet Jackson been invited back? And, you know, this was going on social media. And I said, Janet Jackson's not performing anymore because she's not popping. She ain't popping anymore. And like, how could you say that about her? You white boy, you this. And I'm like, yo, Janet Jackson hasn't made it. I'm just saying it as it is. Like, I fuck with Janet just like everybody else. But in the last 20 years, Janet hasn't done shit. She hasn't had a hit song. It's not the Rhythm Nation days. It's not Behind the Velvet Rope days. It's not the Good Times days. It's like her time as a superstar, she even sort of stepped away from it. She's a mother and all, which is cool. But just because she, you know, it's 20 years ago doesn't mean she should be performing at the Super Bowl. I fucked with Janet when she was popping, and people were like, they went crazy on me. And I'm like, yo, when was the last time you listened to a new Janet Jackson song? Like, and people were just going fucking crazy. And that turned into a whole race thing, which is the shit that I don't like. Because I'm like, yo, if you could tell me when the last time Janet Jackson made a hit song that you bought with your own money, Miss Janet Jackson fan or Mr. Janet Jackson fan, I'll, you know, prove me wrong. You know, and I get the whole, but I was just talking shit. It turned into this whole race thing and Justin Timberlake this and Janet Jackson. So that was probably my first one that you know, got out of hand, and I didn't mean it. And it's like, you know, everybody fucks with Janet, but it's like, she not what she was, and that's cool. That's fine. I'm probably not the same I was 20 years ago. I'm not, you know, you know, especially as a musician, you go through that. But the fact that it turned into this whole race, it literally turned into a Twitter race war. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
When Janet Jackson performed with Timberlake back then,
yeah,
when they performed, what year? How long ago was that? 10 years ago? 12?
It's got to be more than that, because it was, my kids were young.
But Janet Jackson wasn't particularly hot at that time either. She was being, she got invited to perform because she's Janet Jackson and she has that catalog. She's an icon.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like when you invite Cher to perform or
terrible
Bruce Springsteen.
And it's like when they had Madonna up there, I was like, look at this fucking, she looked crazy. She's gonna fucking break her fucking neck. She looks nuts up there. Put some clothes on.
But my point is that those type of people get invited to perform for halftime because they're icons.
I get it.
Not necessarily because they have new material.
I totally get it.
Not recently.
But when Madonna did it, I popped shit too. But no one said it. Like, I was like, she looks fucking nuts. She looks crazy. She looks old. She needs to put some clothes on, and she needs to be careful she don't break her fucking ankle walking up and down those stairs. And people, it's never a race thing there. But it was basically the same sentiment as to why it was just like a shit talking thing that if I said it in real life, no one would think twice about it. But on social media, it's like a lot of times people, I call it it's like America's next top racist. Like, who are we gonna find is a racist? And I stand by what I said, and I still say it to this day. When was the last time Janet Jackson had a dope song? Period. So you know, of course I know her catalog, and they say, well, what if Stevie Wonder performed? Great, I fuck with Stevie. And but Janet Jackson's whole thing is the dancing and all. She can't just get up there and sing like Stevie could get up there and fucking sing at a piano, or even fucking old ass Bruce Springsteen. He's moving around, or the fucking old ass Rolling Stones. Yo, if you could still put on a good show, put on a good show. But you know, it's not race. It's just, it is what it is. Madonna looked fucking ridiculous up there when she performed at the Super Bowl. She looked crazy on the yard.
How did you and Kenya Moore get into y'all beef? I heard y'all been beefing for a long time. What's that about?
Listen, man, there was no beef. I fuck with the reality shows. I fuck with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I had said some things. I look at those the people on the reality shows in a way as characters, right? They're being versions of themselves. So I had said some things about her character, just like I say things about all the characters on all the reality shows. So when I went to go do Watch What Happens Live with my man Andy Cohen, before the show,
was that a setup? That seemed like a setup to me, man. He tried to act like.
It wasn't him. It's her. So before the show, I went into the dressing room and I said, "How you doing? I'm Mike. I'm a big fan. I just want to let you know that if I, nothing I ever said, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm a huge fan and I'm glad to be doing the show. You know, like straight up, like adult to adult. Like, you know, I'm glad to be here, blah, 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 blah." So when we got out on the show, she was talking blah, 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 blah. And, you know, on the show, she said to me something, I don't remember how we got to the point, but she said something, "You're old, fat, and white." She said that to me on live TV, and I didn't say anything. But I was like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, are you crazy? Like, you trying to play me on TV? So
I thought you checked on her first.
Nah, no. So on live TV, she said, "You're old, fat, and white." And I didn't say a fucking word. I just was like, because my wife was watching, I was like, this is a tough situation because number one, it's a woman. Number two, it's a black woman. You got to be careful how you play this shit because, you know, you don't want to say anything crazy in how it could be taken out of context or whatever the fuck. So I didn't say anything. So then on the after show, which is on Bravo.com, I was like, still like, I was offended because, you know, like, if you're gonna start snapping, because to me that's just snapping. If you're gonna start snapping and you feel comfortable enough to say you're old, fat, and white, then all bets are off. I don't give a fuck if you're a black man, black woman, whatever. I don't look at it like that. Like if you're popping shit, I'm popping shit. And however it's gonna play itself out, it's gonna play itself out. Obviously, you know, this is just sort of bantering, but she said that, and then after on the after show, which was online, she said something again. I said, blah, 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 blah. Yo, your feet are ashy. Your feet are fucking ashy.
I saw the after show. Okay.
Right, because that's the thing that got all the attention. And then people saying, you're racist, you're calling her ashy, blah, 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 blah. Who are you? I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? This fucking lady just said you're old, fat, and white. She's lucky I didn't say that shit on live TV about her ashy feet, because when I looked down at her feet, Willie D, them shits was oatmeal, sand on the beach, crispy ash. So it is what it is. I'm not gonna like, oh, because this is a black woman, I'm not supposed to say that. That's not how to me, if you say, oh, everybody treats everybody equal and look, yo, if you're talking shit, I'm talking shit back. I'm supposed to be like fucking nervous or scared of you because you're a black woman or you like, fuck is it? It is what it is. If you say you're old, fat, and white, my wife is watching, my kids are watching, the fuck are you talking about? Your feet are actually ashy. I'm in good shape. I'll break down and give you 50 right now. But your feet are crusty, crusty ash colored. So that's what happened. And then it took on a whole life of its own. And all the other shit is fake news, not true, and anything else. I called her a gorilla and all this shit. It's fucking, I tell people, show it to me. Where did that happen? So the fact that
you didn't call her a gorilla, but you did.
No.
Let me ask you: did you post the picture, the gorilla next to her?
No. And anyone that could show that picture of me posting a gorilla next to her, it's not true.
Who posted that picture next to her?
They took pictures from my Instagram story, and they pieced them together. Somebody photoshopped them together.
Oh, okay.
And the fact that I'm even having to defend myself about this shit is so, to me, it's fucking stupid. And not to you that it's offensive, but it's offensive to me that I even have to explain myself. If somebody says to me, you're old, fat, and white, and what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? Your feet are ashy. The fuck you talking about? Like you know, it's not like a dude. We're not like in a physical confrontation. You talking like you snapping. You're snapping. So, and that's something I'm good at. I'm a professional. So if you want to snap, we can snap. So that's what it is. I don't care what color you are, what fucking gender you are. Women want equal rights. You feel comfortable to say that to me? I feel comfortable to say you have ashy fucking feet. Your feet look like fucking old, outdated oatmeal, period.
So who said, like, so I saw that the picture of her and like getting makeup, and then a picture right next to her of a gorilla. And you say you didn't post that, or you didn't make the meme or none of that. But I read something that was under your name. It appeared that it came from you. It was a tweet that said, I post pictures of gorillas all the time, and now all of a sudden I'm a fucking racist.
Yeah, because that's what it came in. It was like this whole fucking like, you know, to be accused of that is if I ever, like, it was so like offensive to me that I even had to explain myself. And the fact that this shit with this fucking, and I love the shows, but with this Kenya Moore bullshit that I'm still having to explain this shit, like, it's so stupid to me. But at the time I was like, I had to explain myself because I didn't want anybody to get it twisted, to be honest with you. I didn't want anyone to get it twisted. And if I called a black person or a black woman a gorilla, then I deserve all the ramifications of it, period. I would deserve all the ramifications of it. Whatever it is, it is. But that's just not That's just, it's just, number one, that wasn't true. And these places like The Root and these fucking, you know, these bloggers that, you know, they have 4 jobs and they call themselves writers. They could all, I told them all, you can suck my fucking dick every day for the rest of your life. That's how I talk to them, like, suck my fucking dick. You're a clown. You ain't a writer. You're not a blogger. Your website ain't popping. And fuck you. You know, fuck you. You know, that's just fuck you. I don't, period.
I'm gonna say this, like, when somebody come at me, like, I'm an avid believer that if somebody comes at me or anybody, then you don't get the right to choose how that person responds to your attack. If you're attacked, you know, if a person throws a punch at another person and that person beat the brakes off their asses, then you can't all of a sudden play the victim when you started it. I'm a believer in that. But having said that, I'll tell you this: leave Black women alone. And here's why I say this: even Black men can't check Black women.
Can't what?
Hold on, listen to what I'm saying very closely. Black men can't even check Black women. Only a Black woman can check a Black woman. Only a Black woman can get a Black woman together, because Black women share a certain sisterhood based on a unique set of commonalities. And as a white man in this country, and I know that you ain't out there doing all this shit some of these other cats are doing or whatever, and you ain't, you know, responsible for what happened 400 years ago. But when they look at you, you still are symbolic of those atrocities, a white male. And when a white male comments on Black issues, they're always going to be looked at with a suspicious eye, especially if they're critical of a Black person. You know, like, it's no way around it. Like, you're always going to put yourself in a compromising position if you do that. So unless you like the pain, I would advise you to stay away from that, man, because it's a no-win situation. I try my best to not even get into like any type of situation with Black women myself. Well, not anybody, period, but specifically Black women, because Black women have been through a lot in this country. They've suffered a lot in this country. And I don't want to be another person that's the source of their angst. I don't want to be that dude.
I respect that. I respect that. And I hear what you're saying. I totally hear what you're saying. And to be honest with you, the sort of the uproar, I'm gonna say uproar like it was a national issue, it wasn't some bullshit issue, but it's not something that I like. But I will say this, and we can move off this because literally it takes up so much fucking time. If you're on a show, let's say you're on whatever, you're with Sway, and you know there's some, you know, female rapper on, and she says to you, fuck you talking about Willie D, you old tired ass rapper, you haven't done shit in a while. Mm-hmm. A Black woman, a Black rapper says, you haven't done shit in a while, like, old ass Willie D. Fuck, where the fuck you get off speaking on that? And she says those words, you old ass tired rapper. Well, fuck you. You mean to tell me that you wouldn't at least say, you would, even in the tone, if you said I'm not going to say anything, you would say something, right or wrong?
Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't say anything, but I'm more about that action. So I would probably choke her out. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? I handled it wrong. I should have just, you know what? You're right. I should have just, instead of talking about it. Yo, move on, because to be honest with you, the fact that this Watch What Happens Live shit is still a thing. But I respect what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying 100%, and I appreciate what you're saying. I truly do appreciate what you're saying in regards to that.
That's what's up.
Hold on 1 second. Well, let me shut this door because my wife is going to tell me to shut it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about your music, and I'm gonna make this very brief about the music because we're about to go live on Instagram after this. Y'all make sure y'all switch over to my WillieDLive to check out the Instagram. We got a heavy conversation over there about sports and hip hop. We're gonna get Mike's top 5. But right now, what I want to know is what current rapper that's today, who is hot today, that you believe could have given the legends of the golden era of hip hop a run for their money? Because you have been very critical of a lot of the new stuff, but you do support some of the new acts. I watch you. I've seen your Instagram post, and you give props to a number of the youngsters out there. So it's not like you're all just the old head that don't believe that any of the youngsters are capable, but you are hard on them. So what I want to know is which of those guys out there that you believe that could have actually given the legends a run for their money?
Man, that's a good question. In regards to like giving them a run for their money.
Yeah, like bar for bar.
No, I hear you. I would say that J. Cole is in that. Kendrick Lamar is really good. I'm forgetting people. You know, I like these Griselda dudes, these Buffalo dudes. I really like their shit. Mm-hmm. You know, Nipsey was great. You know, he had that old soul, but he was new. You know, he had that. He felt older because of his maturity. And I think that would, you know, he would do well. Man, that's a good question, man. Those are the 3 off the top of my head that I could think of. I'm sure I know there's more that I could say. But those guys, you know, the 3 main Griselda dudes, Benny, Westside, who is Conway, they're very conscious of their lyrics and shit. You know, and you know, for me, it's the diversity that's really gone in terms of the sound. Like, for instance, you know, in the 80s, it was, you know, the New York sound and the way the New York beats and the shit that they were talking about was so you could recognize it right away, you know. And then when you started to hear Ice-T and NWA, it was like, this is, for me as a New Yorker, like, what the fuck is this? But it was different. You guys came in, it was like, what the fuck? Like, I never heard a person's accent like this, and the slang, and, you know, the way you guys with that Southern shit, like, it was a different way. And then, you know, Luke and them came with the Florida shit. And whether you liked it or not, it was just, there was diversity. There was diversity in the beats, diversity in the speed of the beats, diversity in the samples. And then, of course, when, you know, Big Boy and them out of Atlanta with Outkast, they came, it was a whole other thing. And even in New York, just the New York groups, there was such diversity, whether it was KRS, you know, like, I look at these guys as the big 3, KRS, Big Daddy Kane, and Rakim. The one thing they all have in common is they were very conscious, but the way they rhymed was so different. Like, those 3 guys alone, like Rakim with his slow shit, you know, Kane, you know, you forget how conscious he was. He was kicking that shit, you know, but he was also talking about, you know, fucking chicks and, you know, all the fun shit, but it was balanced. KRS was, you know, I mean, he just brought a whole other education to not just black people, to white people. Like, he was, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it was like great, Brand Nubians and all that. So there was such a diversity. And now, you know, you think about like now, you know, and I was thinking about like, who's going to be one of these young dudes who's going to release something that hits you in the heart right now? Because I'm not a rapper, you know, but if I was a rapper, like, I would be like, yo, I would just put out something. Like, who's going to be the person who's going to write about the way we're all feeling for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, the angst, the fear, the every emotion that we're all feeling. Where is it? You know, and from hip hop, you know, whether it's PE, whether it was what you guys did, whether it was what Cubes did, what Ice Cube did, to whoever, it's like, it was supposed to be like, when Ice Cube said, we're the CNN of the ghetto, or we're the ghetto, you know, news. Right now, like, who's the MC that's gonna put that out in hip hop form, in rap form? And that's why I'm like, these dudes ain't shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, these dudes ain't shit, you know, because where is it? Like, now more than ever, like, you got to be able to put out like one song about how we're feeling, or a freestyle or an acapella about what's going on. This is terrible times. So that's why I kind of like look at these dudes like, who's going to do it? Who's the leader? Who's the voice? Like back then, like, you know, the dudes that I just named, those were voices. Those were mouthpieces for the streets and for the youth. Mm-hmm. Who's doing that now? I mean, literally, you answer me right now. We've been in lockdown for 6 weeks. Where are you at, hip hop? Where are we? You know, where the fuck are we at? So, you know, when I kick that, you know, I know the viewers will be like, that's true, that's true. And then when I say Janet Jackson's not popping, like, yo, this just, you know, so it's like, but like, so when I feel like I could be critical of hip hop, because I know the shit, I love the shit, and it's informed who I am. The way that I speak, the shit that I talk, the fact that I'm unapologetically, you know, on the front lines with not just a tweet, with the camera in front of my face, talking that dick stain Donald Trump shit. That's hip hop. You know, that's me. That's my version of hip hop. I don't rap, but that spirit is hip hop to me. So when you say about now, it's like, yo, you mean not one person's gonna put out a song about this COVID shit? Come on, man. For real. Give me a fucking break, man. We're fucking dying here. We're suffering. We're locked in the crib. You got nothing but time to write on your hands. Put something out, hip hop. Where the fuck are we at?
Yeah. Man, you're like the begrudged dude who like all the old stuff and question all.
No, but Willie, where are we at? You mean to tell me I can't get one fucking song with some passion and some emotion about what's going on right now? For real. Where are we at? All these dudes, and they're like this and that and this, and you know, where the fuck are you at? Can I get a half a song, 18, 16, something? Can I get a fucking 4 lines, 4 bars, something? We're fucking dying here. And this is why I look at this hip hop, I'm like, shit is bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Where are you guys at? Like, where are these fucking young dudes at? Anyway, let's go to IG Live with it.
Are you familiar with Toby and the Wigway?
Who is it?
Toby and the Wigway. He's from
I don't know him.
Check him out.
How you say his name?
Check him out. You're gonna like him.
Say it again?
The Wigway.
Okay, I'm gonna check him out.
Yeah, check him out. Just put in Toby, T-O-B. Just remember Toby.
With an E.
Yeah, you're gonna like that. You're gonna like him.
I'm gonna check him out.
Yeah, he fly. You know, he's creative, and he's entertaining, and he's saying something. Him and his wife, they're like a little tag team. Wife named Fat. We call her Fat, F-A-T.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
They live.
Let's do this Instagram Live.
Yeah, but I a couple more questions I want to ask you about the Barstool Sports situation. Mm-hmm. How did that thing get out of control? Y'all were on Twitter or something like that, having like a little banter between you and the staff, and then this is what you said. Y'all got to hear this, fam. If y'all not familiar with this, I thought this was like this is one of the wildest things I ever heard anybody say. So this is what I get, and you fill in any kind of blanks, Mike.
All right, well, I can't say, to be honest, I can't speak on it because of legalities that I'm dealing with.
There's some legalities going on?
Oh, yeah, no, it's the legalities are popping.
Oh, hell. Oh, okay. We'll skip that. We'll come back to that. I can't believe that y'all involved in some legal stuff behind that.
Oh, yeah. We're deep in it.
Everybody said what they said, and that should have been the end of it. Like again, yeah, well, we'll move on. The comedy, the drama, you said that you pretty much like it all, but some tells me that you kind of sway toward being a villain. Like you really embrace that role of a villain because you like being disruptive.
I don't mind being a villain, and you talk about like when you're acting and you're playing a character that's a fucking piece of shit, you can't do that in real life. You can't say the things that you say as a character in real life. So I enjoy it. It's fun. it's fun. It's like, you know, as a kid, you could play cowboys and Indians or good cop, bad cop, or whatever the fuck. That's really what it's like. You know, you're doing shit that you can't do in real life. So I enjoy playing bad guys. It's fun.
Right. Right.
And I don't really look like a bad guy. Like I don't feel like I have that menacing kind of look. So that's why I think I enjoy it too. Cause I don't, you know, on paper, if you just look at me, if you don't know me, like he don't look like the bad guy. So I like to play that part.
Do you scream at your sons at home, man? Do you do it like, you know, you I just like when I think of you and your kids, I just think you be in one room and they're like 5 rooms over and you're like, come get them, get the fuck. Do you do that at home?
Well, they're 18 and 20 now, so they're
oh, okay. They're pretty much grown.
Yeah. So
yeah.
but I was a little bit, well, I was screaming when they were younger, but I'm loud, you know. But you know, it's funny because when they started getting into social media, it was about 5 years ago, right? And then I started getting into it, and luckily it timed out good because I don't think if I had young kids, I could be like, you cocksucker, Dick Stain, Donald Trump, you mother, like they'd be like, it wouldn't be appropriate, you know what I mean? I'd have to like leave the house to do my videos, so it worked out good for me.
Right.
You can't be with 6 and 7 years old, like, fuck the fucking president, that motherfucker. You know, they'd be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Where did you meet your wife? You've been married how long?
We've been married 3 years. We met a long time ago. We dated when we were young in the 90s, 91, 92, 93, 94.
Okay.
And then I fucked up and married a white woman and then got divorced. And then we got together again about 10 years ago now. So we've been back together 10 years.
Right. 10 years. Wow. Do y'all still get the stares and stuff like? Well, it's probably different with you being a celebrity. People probably staring at you for different reasons. Like
definitely like people stare for different reasons. And you know, as far as the race shit, I mean, you know, I'm not in.
Y'all live in New York?
In LA and New York. So it's, you know, as far as, you know, people. I haven't really had any of that for a while, to be honest with, like the racial shit. And now because, you know, people see who you are, and I'm just kind of oblivious. I'm sure it pops, but New York and LA are so sort of liberal and comfortable with that shit. And it's good. People should be able to, you know, it shouldn't be, you know, fucking whole, you know, when you're walking down the street, it shouldn't be like, you know, jaw-dropping shit. And, you know, if you know, you could say about New York and Los Angeles, especially New York, because LA is a driving city. You're not really out and about. New York that's my city, you know what I mean? So if anybody says anything to me in New York, it's all love. That's where I'm from.
Right. What do you think white people's role is who are in relationships with black people in regards to fighting white supremacy?
I think that you have to speak up. I think that you have to speak up. I don't think you could be docile about it. I think that you have to speak up, you know, and I think that you have to, you know, go at it head on, and you just have to speak up. You have to speak up, and you have to be unafraid of it, you know, because it is scary, you know, confrontations, people don't like to admit it, whether you like to fight, not like to fight, like to argue, not like to argue, whatever kind of confrontation is not, most people aren't comfortable with confrontations, as you should be. It's not, you know, the normal way we deal with each other on the most, but in that with race, you just have to speak up, and you know, it sounds stupid, but you know, like I try, you know, you just got to treat motherfuckers the way, you know, like for what's in front of you. You know, if a motherfucker's on some sucker shit, white, black, Jewish, Asian, then they're on some sucker shit. If they're cool, white, black, Jewish, Asian, whatever the fuck, then they're cool, you know, and you know, I know the layers, and I know I get all the other things, but I think you just have to give, you know, try to like take people for what's in front of you. And I think that the sooner we can start doing that, you know, the better. But I mean, I don't have no answer for, like I said at the beginning, I think that race is an unsolvable jigsaw puzzle.
Right, right. You said on Ebro that you didn't know that racism was so bad until you started rooting for Mayweather when he was fighting Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And people started calling you all kinds of names and stuff.
Yeah.
It really took that long for you to realize how bad it was?
You know, Willie, I grew up in New York City, and there's definitely, you know, especially in the 70s and 80s, there was a lot of racial shit in New York.
Yeah.
But there was something about that Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather fight and me supporting, and I'm not even a Mayweather fan. I didn't like his style of boxing. You know, we could say how great he is, whatever. That's a whole different subject. I just found him a boring fighter, defensive fighter, whatever. But as a boxing fan, I was like, there's no way this fucking UFC dude should be boxing one of the greatest fighters of all time. I'm rocking with Mayweather, and plus all the other shit that he's been involved with, but I'm rocking with Mayweather full tilt as a boxing fan. Like, if he loses to fucking Conor McGregor, boxing is done. So I was all in. I was like, I felt it as insulting as a boxing fan, as somebody who loves and respects professional athletes. So when I was just cheering it on and all the build up and hype for that fight, and it was a lot of hype and build up for that fight, even though if you knew boxing, you knew that it was going to be non-competitive. Motherfuckers were like, you fucking N lover, you fucking suck black cock, you fucking love black people, you wish you were black. I mean, but it was so much and so so vicious, and the language, I was like, what, you know, this is crazy. Like, you know, this is bugged out. You know, and it's not like I explained what I just explained to you. Oh, I'm rooting for Mayweather because he's a box. No, I just was like, yo, this is bugged out. Like the language and the shit that I'm hearing, like in the anger, and like, how could you support this motherfucker? You love fucking black. I mean, it was wild, the shit that they were saying to me. So it was, no one ever said that to my face. No one ever said this kind of shit to me growing up, like this kind of wild shit. I've heard, oh, you know, you think you're black, oh, you wigger, all this stupid, whack, corny shit. But this was a whole other level. So that's what I meant with the Mayweather fight. Like, I was bugging off of it. It was. I mean, if I went back and looked at those Instagram posts, you know, that when I was posting, talking about, if I posted right now, always remember Mayweather fucked up Conor McGregor. If I post that right now, you'd see it. You'd see the people like, it was like, they thought this dude was going to beat the best boxer ever. I'm like, you crazy?
You should post it on GP.
I'll do it. I'll post one. You'll see it. And then I'll repost the things.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the other thing that you mentioned in the interview that you didn't say just now was that the regional part of it, the countryman part of it, the nationalism part of it, like this dude, Conor McGregor, is from a whole different country. And then you got all of these American people right here, people in America rooting for the Irishman. Like when you look at American, the Olympics, this is strange to me. When you look at the Olympics, it's America versus China and you know, America versus Uganda or whatever, right? America versus Spain. So American people, everybody's rooting for the American to get as many golds and silvers as possible. Go, 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 right? But oftentimes when it's a black person going up against a white person, or not even just a white person, anybody outside of a black person,
yeah,
major sporting event, oftentimes you'll have Americans rooting for the other person that's from another country.
Yeah, I mean, the Deontay Wilder shit was the same thing. It's crazy.
What's that?
Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Now, he got fucked up the second time, but I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that happened also at the Floyd Mayweather fight. I was at that Mayweather fight, and I heard the Mayweather Pacquiao fight in Vegas, and I was sitting right there next to a major star who was like rooting for Pacquiao, and he was calling McGregor, him and his girl, they were calling Floyd all kinds of names, And I was like, where does all of this venom come from? And they wasn't the only one. It was other people behind me. I don't know where they were from, but I knew this particular person was from America. And he's a major movie star. And he was just, so I turned to him, I said, yeah, you really don't like Floyd, huh? So once he saw that I was for Floyd, he kind of toned it down. But his woman was just, you know, she had this look on her face like if she could lynch Floyd, she would do it. I just felt like she was one of those type of people that, you know, if she could like lynch him or go to a lynching, you know, for a party or something, for entertainment purposes, she would actually attend the lynching, watch that dude die, just for the simple fact that she don't like who he is as a person. She hated him that much. They were saying all kinds of things.
It's real. It's fucking totally real. And for me, being, you know, doing the sports stuff, doing the Skip and Shannon, the build up to that fight, and, you know, sort of being a voice in my podcast and on social media, rooting for Floyd, who, like I said, I'm not even a fan of as a boxer, and he makes it hard to root for him even as a person. But as a boxer, I don't like his style. That's neither here nor there. That's why when I said on Ebro, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that it wasn't like, fuck you, the Patriots are going to kick the Giants. It was wild to me. It was bugged out. It was an eye opener to me. You know, social media has been an eye opener to me in terms of you fucking Jew, you all this shit. I'm like, fucking Jew, what the fuck you talking about? Like, no one, what are you talking about? Like, I never heard none of that shit growing up in New York City. Straight up, never heard it. Like I never heard, nobody ever said no Jewish shit to me ever in New York. And I'm not no tough guy. It's not because I'm a bad, no one ever said it to me. I've never had anyone say that to me in my life. So when I see it on social media, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's been a few years, so I'm kind of like used to it. But it just, in regards to the Evo thing, I was like, yo, this is crazy. This is bugged out. So,
Mike, have you ever gotten into a fight for talking shit?
The last time I got into a fight, it wasn't. I was the victim in terms of how it started, but I did end it.
Okay.
But
so
I haven't.
So even in high school, middle school.
Yeah. For you know, you get into fights and shit like that, but you know,
but I'm talking about specifically for talking shit, not because of some type of infraction, but you were actually talking shit. And then
I don't think, you know, it's so long ago. I can't say that I ever had one specifically for that.
Yeah.
You know, specifically for that. It could be, you know, I had a bunch of good fights, not good fights, but I had like fights, a few fights that I remember, like, you know, were on basketball courts, you know, wind up boop, 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 you know, and it's not like, you know, a long thing. And, you know, listen, I play to my strengths. I'm not nice to my joints like you really did. You know what I mean? Like, you have fights when you get older. It's like, what the fuck? You know, right now you fight about, have to be protecting yourself, protecting your feeling. I'm not fighting over this. You know, it's different. You know what I mean? It's just different. You know, as you get older, you have to have some sort of vested interest in the fight. You know what I mean? So, you know, whatever.
Mike, walk me through June 2018 when you was a passenger on American Airlines, and this is a flight from Houston to Los Angeles. And
I saw you. That's when I met you.
That's the day, and that's what I was going to get to. That's the same day we met. Exactly. Walk me through that flight, man, when the guy tried to open the emergency door.
So I was on the flight from Houston to Los Angeles, returning from the Big Three. And we were sitting in first class. It was a smaller plane, so it wasn't like you know, first class was kind of like business class. It was an early flight. Baron Davis, Big Baby Davis, my man Mike Hill, and I think there was another ball players. But it was like one of those 10 people in first class. It was close together. Very early flight, like 6 in the morning. So we all get on the flight. We're all kind of sleeping. Everybody's minding their business. Big Baby's sitting behind me. And Big Baby's fucking huge. If you ever seen Big Baby Davis in real life, that motherfucker's big. Especially since he's retired, Big Baby. That motherfucker, is like, you know, he ate.
Big around.
That motherfucker's ginormous. So like halfway through the flight, the dude sitting next to me, he taps and goes, rap, because he had a seatbelt on him. He just, you know, kind of woke up. He goes, and I look up and I could see the door because I'm sitting in the front seat in business class. So I could see directly to the door on the plane, the main door. And I see a guy going like this, pulling at the door, not jiggling it, pulling at the shit. You know, so all I see is that. So I get up out of my seat, you know, and I go, I grab him, I put my hands on him, I go, what the fuck are you doing? And he start, you know, like he goes back to the door and he goes to put it. So I pushed him against the wall of the plane, you know, like it was the bathroom door. And I go, yo, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And this whole thing, maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds, probably 30 seconds. And at that point, Baron Davis, you know, comes from his seat. He's like, because he was in a dead sleep. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Big Baby Davis sleeps through the whole thing. The stewardesses and the flight attendants, they run up there and like, what happened? What happened? Like, this motherfucker's trying to open the door. He's trying to open the door. So they take him and they put him in the bathroom. And they, you know, lock him in the bathroom. And they're like, keep asking me what happened. I go, he's trying to open the door. And then the guy sitting next to me goes, yeah, he was trying to open the door because he's the only one who also saw it. And then the captain came out and I tell him the same story. And they keep him in the fucking bathroom. And apparently what happened was, he had taken a sleep, like a Ambien or something to help him sleep, but he woke up, he was disoriented. And what he said was that he thought it was the bathroom.
We had landed. Yeah, he thought you had landed.
I don't know what the fuck he thought, but when you see somebody fucking with the door,
yeah,
the way he was pulling at it, you don't think.
Man, good thing he wasn't successful, man. He didn't know what he was doing. Damn.
Yeah, it was fucked up, but in hindsight, it was funny. And Big Baby Davis slept through the whole thing. The rest of the plane woke up. That motherfucker was out. So that shit was scary, but we got through it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And we got through this interview too. Tell everybody how to get to the new podcast you got.
I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast.
Yeah.
Let's go to IG Live, right?
Yeah, we're getting ready to go to IG Live, fam. So, Mike, I appreciate you. We're about to move on. You want to drop any contacts, Mike, before we go?
Nah, I just want everybody to stay safe and stay sane and get out of this motherfucker. Get out of here, you know, in good physical health and good mental health. Take care of yourselves.
Right. Okay, some shout outs before we get out of here. Ain't That Picture Dusty, Canton 1000, Keith Epps, new member, Ain't That Picture Dusty, Serena Santiago. Hi, Willie, he definitely made that character believable. I live in Milwaukee, just saying I would have caught on to Dahmer right away, though. Josh Smith, peace and love to all of y'all. Everybody stay safe. Elaine Beck, what's up? She said she is the #1 fan. And that's what's up. I appreciate y'all, fam. Follow us over to WillieDLive IG right now. This is part 2, the next level. WillieD Live, Mike Rapaport, bam.
I'll see you over there.
You dig what I'm saying? In a minute, fam. Appreciate y'all. No more talk.